It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. Well, I saw this story and I was very confused because LAUSD is getting sued. The superintendent of LAUSD is getting sued, and they're getting sued by the former superintendent of the LAUSD, Austin Beutner. All of this is over Proposition 28, which was overwhelmingly passed in 2022. This was a proposition that was even endorsed by certain members of Howard Jarvis that was supposed to make sure that certain funding that goes to schools goes specifically to arts and music and theater programs, something that I think we can all agree on is a great thing to have in schools. I can say, as somebody that grew up in the Newhall School District and then the Hart High District in the Valencia area, I benefit greatly from music programs. Going all the way to, I think, the 4th grade, I had the ability to get into a music program. I might have had the option earlier. I don't know if I was interested, but I started on the violin, and about a week later realized I hate the violin, and so I got on the clarinet. And when you're 9 years old, you don't realize the clarinet's not very cool. So I played the clarinet for 7 years, including marching band. And that really was the win for me as someone who didn't like to do a lot of physical exercise. In 9th grade and 10th grade, marching band counted as your gym credit. Of course, marching band was a hell of a lot more work than I thought it would be, but I loved being in band as a kid. I loved learning a musical instrument. It was something I looked forward to, although there was quite a time in junior high where I started to realize that I was playing the least cool instrument in the band, and I wanted to learn the saxophone because they looked a lot cooler. But that's neither here nor there. I think my life was greatly benefited by the fact that the school districts that I grew up in Valencia, had great music programs, had great art programs, had great theater programs. I was not much of a theater kid, although I think going back, I probably should have been. I did take a drama class or two, and the only thing I remember from it is one point we watched the movie version of Guys and Dolls in class. I don't think we did any actual acting, but it was an intro class. So what the heck is going on at LAUSD? And are they really not spending this money that they're supposed to be spending on music teachers and art teachers? And what is going on with this lawsuit? Because this is real confusing. For more, here is a report from KCAL.
Breaking news at 5:30, a lawsuit just filed against LA Unified and Superintendent Alberto Carvallo, claiming taxpayers have been defrauded of millions of dollars in funding.
Holy cow, we're being defrauded.
And exactly who is filing it may be the most surprising.
Senior reporter Ross Palumbo is here now with his story you'll see only on KCAL News.
Well, it's actually the former superintendent that's spearheading this lawsuit that was just filed a few minutes ago over millions of dollars that he helped the district get. Austin Beutner was the man behind Proposition 28. You may remember it. The biggest stars in Hollywood helped him get nearly $1 billion set aside specifically for new art teachers and classes. LAUSD got a big portion of that money, but now the former superintendent and parents say those millions weren't spent properly.
Uh-oh.
And they say that the district and Carvallo tried to cover it up.
Yes! Finding his balance in ballet. These were...
of course, we got to start with a heartwarming story about a kid who learned ballet.
These were the first critical steps as a 6-year-old leapt into dance. Yes! But years after these private lessons, his mother had hoped some kind of creative choreography could continue.
Should totally do that
with art classes at his public school.
Because it's dancing.
No dance classes at LAUSD? Nothing? No tap? No jazz? No ballet? No modern? No postmodern? We get it.
It's like, I wish I could give you that opportunity in the middle school, at school, so that you can see if that's really what you want to do.
Is that his dream right now?
Right now.
And more than 2 years ago, artist and educator.
That's quite a supportive parent. Your kid at 8 years old says, I want to be a dancer. You say, sure.
And more than 2 years ago, artists and educators across California came together to make dreams like that a reality.
I would not be sitting here if not for arts and music.
Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, Quincy Jones, and Barbra Streisand were all part of
That's quite a group right there.
a coalition of more than 1 million people who helped former LAUSD Superintendent Austin Beutner try to reverse declining arts education through a new state law.
On a bill to be passed that's going to change the lives of all your peers in this city.
The change would come from Proposition 28.
This thing had bipartisan support. Everyone liked Prop 28 because it wasn't any additional taxes, but was saying a certain portion of money that we spend on schools has to go towards these programs, towards new programs.
And it passed overwhelmingly across California by 70% here in Los Angeles County.
That's almost Prop 36 numbers.
$1 billion more for arts and music education.
Now there's nearly $1 billion in additional art funding for all schools, with a larger portion promised to underserved communities and a full 80% specifically earmarked to hire new art teachers.
That is so beautiful.
But after the applause,
I do love this. I do love that we're starting to see, it's one thing to pass laws. It's one thing to vote on initiatives. It's a whole other thing to look at how was this stuff implemented, even the stuff that we liked, even the stuff that we voted for. If it's not implemented properly, then what are we doing?
But after the applause, after LAUSD got the largest arts funding check in the state, parents began noticing a problem.
The district was not doing what they were intended to do with the money.
No art teachers? No music teachers?
You don't believe the money was coming to
By the way, music teachers, at least in my opinion, had the biggest temper of any other teachers I ever worked with. Because it's one thing, when you've got a whole bunch of musicians that got to learn the songs and learn, and when it's marching band, learn the choreography. But boy, oh boy, when those musicians are unruly teenagers, my band teacher, Mr. Bailey, would get so mad at everybody, except for me. I was great. I mean, I was not a great marcher. In fact, famously, this is true. I was doing a marching band performance in the 9th grade, and all of our marching band performances would be at the local college of the Canyons. And I wore contacts at the time, and one of my contacts fell out while I was marching. And I had to immediately pick it up off the grass, otherwise I'd be blind, and stick the now dirty contact back in my eye. But tell you that's dedication to the craft right there. And then a year later, I quit, so I go work at Magic Mountain.
You don't believe the money was coming to your school.
Absolutely.
I lived the most stereotypical Valencia life.
You don't believe the money was coming to your school.
Absolutely.
For the arts program.
Oh, it's Shangy.
Absolutely.
For the arts program.
Absolutely.
Did you?
Oh boy, it really is Shang. I can't help it. I hear it everywhere. People don't realize how much of a crutch it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And again, I understand if you don't hear it pointed out to you, you might not even realize you're doing it. I guarantee that if I went on my computer right now and I dug up really old episodes of the podcast I did a decade ago, the Pretty Good Podcast, I bet I did that all the time.
You don't believe the money was coming to your school.
Absolutely.
For the arts program.
Absolutely.
Did you see more teachers at your school?
No.
Did you see more programs?
No.
Did you?
Nothing. All that Prop 28 money, where did it go?
Did you see more arts in general?
No.
And what did you think?
Not even a paintbrush?
And what did you think about that?
Not one dance shoe?
I was furious.
How much did LAUSD
How
get?
about those little ballet socks? Nothing?
How much did LAUSD get?
$77 million.
$77 million. And how much of that went to new teachers?
Is this? You can tell this is a zero, right?
Oh boy, Beutner's here with some jokes.
Former Superintendent Austin Beutner and these heads of LAUSD's largest unions say 0 teachers.
Okay, now I'm worried. Again, I don't know what's going on with this lawsuit, but if it's got Alberto Carvallo and the LAUSD school board on one side and the former superintendent Austin Beutner now partnering with UTLA, United Teachers of Los Angeles, I don't know what's going on here. Because those two used to be mortal enemies when Austin Beutner was the superintendent. Cecily Myart-Cruz called that guy every name in the book. Let's go! She did everything she could to go after him to get a new contract.
And I want you to be all the way pissed off.
In fact, I think that clip right there predates Carvallo. That might have been a Beutner clip. So what happened? Now these two are on one side and they're going after Carvallo? Oh boy, I have no idea what's going on here, but it's juicy.
Former Superintendent Austin Beutner and these heads of LAUSD's largest unions say zero teachers means zero.
Whoever edited this piece had some fun. You know, there's been so much serious news lately. And, you know, you can't really have a lot of fun covering national news. You can't have a lot of fun covering the rains or the fires or anything else. But a good old-fashioned school lawsuit, let's have fun with it.
The largest unions say zero teachers.
That is great.
Means zero real growth in arts education, the very reason he wrote and they backed the law.
So money leads to teacher, leads to instruction and engagement for kids.
And that is missing from school.
That's Cecily. Cecily is in this piece, although she's in it for about 5 seconds, which leads me to believe, as somebody that has studied Cecily Myart-Cruz relentlessly,
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday,
is that she spoke quite a bit, and they only had about 5 seconds that they feel like they could use.
Hey!
Also, just remember that she's here. And remember, Prop 28 was new funding that specifically was supposed to go towards the hiring of new music teachers and art teachers. And if you have a whole bunch of money that you're supposed to use on new teachers, why wouldn't you?
And that is missing from school.
Those teachers.
It's a loss of opportunity.
That loss has now led to this lawsuit from parents like Vicky Martinez.
Lawsuit? It's pretty good.
That loss has now led to this lawsuit from parents like Vicky Martinez and from former Superintendent Beutner himself, not only against Los Angeles Unified, but against the current superintendent, Alberto Carvallo.
Can you sue a superintendent personally? That is wild.
Saying they defrauded the state of California and its taxpayers over millions of dollars in funding that was not used to hire new art teachers, and that hundreds of thousands of students have been harmed.
You think they're breaking the law?
100%.
You think they're breaking the law?
Absolutely.
And you...
Everyone can't stop saying it. It is the phrase that pays, everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you think they're breaking the law? Oh, yes. Is the school district failing these kids?
Yes.
Yes.
The district...
Well, we knew that even before Prop 28.
The district's own data they claim in their lawsuit proves that almost no new teachers were hired. The majority of zeros listed in the final column here for some elementary schools shows little or no change in teacher hours year over year.
So what do they do with that money? They got $70 million, and they got it in 2023. They got it in 2024. You got to imagine they're getting it in 2025. Where's that money going?
They should have hired more than 1,000 teachers.
Did they hire any?
Few, if any.
Before filing suit, they sent a letter to the governor and state leaders last May, claiming that...
Wait. When did they file that letter? Because remember, this is Austin Beutner partnering with the teachers union. Let's see if we can do this together. Are we ready?
They sent a letter to the governor and state leaders last May, claiming that this violates the law. And
I can't help myself.
And by June, the Los Angeles Unified School Board itself was demanding answers.
So wait, the school board doesn't know where this money is? Boy, you know, to go back to my favorite politician of all time, Shengi S. Tao.
The bureaucracy is real.
So the state gives LAUSD $70 million to hire new music teachers, art teachers, drama teachers, what have you. And the public doesn't know where it is. The students don't know where it is. They don't see the new teachers. The school board doesn't know where the money is. What is going on here?
Telling Superintendent Carvallo we must be able to show the public that we are complying with funding regulations.
Parent groups, schools, arts teachers, every single time I'm getting these calls and complaints that it's not happening like it should be happening at the schools.
Notwithstanding the letter of the law, we decided to lean on the
Boy, that dramatic music is getting me real tense.
Intent.
Carvallo fully responded in August, saying after Prop 28, 100 new teachers were hired and contracted.
Wait a second. Okay. $70 million a year for the new music teachers, the new art teachers. And they only hired 100? So what, each teacher's getting $700,000? I think I did that math, right? Maybe? I think I did.
Saying after...
It's because I didn't go to LAUSD.
Saying after Prop 28, 100 new teachers...
I slept through all my classes at Hart High School, and I still got straight B's, and I'm still smarter than this.
Saying after Prop 28, 100 new teachers were hired and contracted in art, dance, music, and theater.
Wait, so how many campuses are on LAUSD? How many LAUSD schools are there? There are over 1,500 schools. There are 435 elementary schools, 77 middle schools, 86 senior high schools, 66 magnet high schools, 12 special education schools, 4 infant centers, 11 adult education centers, oh, those are fun, and 219 independent schools. Wow. Google and AI is scary good for research on the fly.
Representing a
I don't know if that actually added up to 1,500, but I don't think it did. But yes, they have over 1,000 schools, and they only hired 100 new teachers. And this law, which again had bipartisan support, 70% of the public voted for it, said you have to put new art and dance and school, whatever, all art teachers, music teachers in every school. So what did they do with the $70 million?
Representing a 2% increase from the prior year.
I think it's not true. There are some blatant inaccuracies in there.
Carvallo also added, though, the district prioritized the use of Prop 28 funds to cover existing staff as well as hire new staff.
Okay, here's what I think happened here. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know the intricacies of the budget. I obviously have nothing to do with the budget. I haven't seen the spreadsheet. Is it possible that Alberto Carvallo, the superintendent at LAUSD, when he was negotiating with Cecily Myart-Cruz in 2022,
we demand higher pay,
when they got that giant contract for a 21% raise on top of the raise they negotiated for the SEIU Local 99. When that whole thing was going on, all the crazy strike drops that we have,
March, May,
all of this, is it possible? I don't know. Is it possible that Alberto Carvalho, because of public pressure from the teachers union, because of public pressure from the mayor's office and everyone sending, you're not funding the schools, gave in to a raise for the existing teacher staff that they could not afford, that now they had to dip into other funds like this money that was supposed to go towards hiring new music teachers and art teachers to pay for Cecily's raise?
Get that money!
I don't know. But the fact that Cecily is one of the proponents of the lawsuit suing Carvallo with Beutner is very interesting.
We demand higher pay.
We're going to hear more from this story. And Austin Beutner went on with Fox 11's Marla Tejas, one of my favorite people, to explain what's going on here. If you have any idea what's going on with this LAUSD lawsuit and Prop 28, maybe you get some inside info. Maybe you're a teacher. Maybe you thought there were going to be more teachers for art and dance and music at your school. What the hell is going on at LAUSD? 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. Do you think this has to do with the massive raise that Carvalho gave out to the teachers union 3 years ago for why they had to dip into these state funds? I don't know. It's possible. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're trying to figure out what's going on with the former superintendent at LAUSD suing the current superintendent and the district for improperly using money that was supposed to be allocated from Prop 28 to hire new art teachers, new dance teachers, new music teachers. Where did that money go? And does UTLA have anything to do with this? We'll find out next on the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. And an easy way to get our podcast, go to kabc.com/newsblitz. They're all right there. We're going through trying to figure out what is going on at LAUSD because the former superintendent, Austin Beutner, is suing the current superintendent and the district because of a $70 million mismanagement of funds. This goes back to Prop 28, something that the majority of Californians voted for. It was supposed to require funding be sent to all schools in the state to hire new music teachers, new art teachers, new dance teachers. LAUSD got about $70 million, and they hired 100 for a district that's supposed to serve 500,000 kids. Let's continue with this report from KCAL before we hear from Beutner himself.
Carvallo also added, though, the district prioritized the use of Prop 28 funds to cover existing staff.
And remember, it's not just Beutner suing the district, it's also a bunch of concerned parents, but UTLA as well. Cecily Myart-Cruz was with him in the interview.
As well as hire new staff.
Yeah, he says they use the money he used the money to pay existing staff.
And you believe that?
Did Alberto Carvallo write contracts that he could not pay for with the funding that LAUSD has? So he had to dip into this fund to hire. We couldn't hire new people because we made deals to pay the existing people way too much.
Staff.
I don't know.
Staff.
And you believe that's illegal?
The law says you may.
I mean, if you're a manager and you get a whole bunch of money that's specifically going toward hiring new people, why wouldn't you do that? Lighten the load.
Staff.
And you believe that's illegal?
The law says you may not use the money in plain language.
And the money, they believe, was illegally redirected to other things, like to increase senior staff salaries.
You know, I guarantee stuff like this happens all the time, but we don't have that much enforcement. We don't have that many watchdogs. There's so much government money that's supposed to be earmarked towards a very specific purpose, and we just want to know that it is.
Claiming their
people they voted overwhelmingly for more music teachers and art teachers and dance teachers.
Claiming their pay has increased fivefold since 2010, while student enrollment has plunged.
They want to make sure the money.
Who's getting a 5 times their salary? What is going on here? Is LAUSD still broke from all the money they overspent on during COVID? Is that what's going on here? What did they do with that $70 million?
That's supposed to go.
Or has Austin Beutner just got sour grapes that he's not the superintendent anymore?
That's supposed to go.
And his run as superintendent kind of blew up any other political future he would ever had for running for mayor, running for governor, because he didn't come out looking very good. He said he was going to shake up that system, reform that system, and that did not happen.
That's supposed to go to the schools which serve their children, gets there.
And gets to this son's school.
What would this money mean for him?
Oh, we got the sad music.
What would this money mean for him?
It would mean that he would have now arts in the middle school, in the high school. In his middle school, there's none.
She says,
no art classes for a whole junior high school? What about when it rains? Will they do square dancing? We did that in my junior high school because it was El Nino in my 7th grade year and couldn't go outside.
She says she just wants more art, less questionable math, and for her son to dance and not suffer any sidestepping around his opportunities.
You're in the number one market. You don't have to throw puns into your story. don't have to do it.
Sidestepping around his opportunities.
It's sad because you do want the best for your kid. It's not that I'm asking for something more. I'm asking for what is rightfully theirs.
What is this music in the background? It's like Billy Elliot or something.
Well, LAUSD says it has increased the total arts budget beyond the $77 million and that staffing...
But, okay, so they're either saying that Beutner is completely full of crap. If they only hired 100 people, how have they more than increased the budget that was allocated to them? You either hired new people or you didn't. If it went to existing people, then I think Beutner has a case. Unless there's some even more fuzzy math going on. I don't know what's going on here, but, you know, I like to stir the pot.
Well, LAUSD says it has increased the total arts budget beyond the $77 million and that staffing has nearly doubled. Now, you can read their entire statement on kcalnews.com. Bottom line, the district told me this is a, quote, misunderstanding of the law. But remember,
that's the hard part because Austin Beutner is the guy that wrote the law.
Of the law. But remember, Austin Beutner wrote this law.
Oh, he was going to say that, too. I'm sorry. I stole your thunder, Palumbo. I don't mean to do that. You got this, buddy.
Himself. And he thinks he has a pretty good idea of what the actual intent was. You know, it's very interesting on the timing on all of this because tomorrow, the LAUSD board, the school board, is going to review Carvallo's performance in private session. He has about a year left on his contract right now.
This is only going to make this year more interesting for LAUSD because not only is now there this lawsuit over the possible mishandling of $70 million of Prop 28 money, this is also a contract year. Cecily Myart-Cruz is coming out of retirement, and even though most school districts in the state are facing budget cuts, they're facing school closures, they're facing declining enrollment, you know what Cecily's going after.
Get that money!
You know what she wants.
We demand higher pay.
I'm just wondering if the reason Carvallo didn't hire new teachers is he made such a sweetheart deal with UTLA that even with the money allocated from the state, he could not afford to. I don't know if that's what's going on here, but it's interesting that Cecily Myart-Cruz is joining up with Beutner to sue Carvallo.
Man!
When we come back, we'll hear what Austin Beutner had to say to Fox 11's Marla Tejas as we try to figure out what is going on with this lawsuit where the former superintendent is suing the current superintendent at LAUSD. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're trying to figure out what the heck is going on at LAUSD. The former superintendent, Austin Beutner, is partnering with UTLA and concerned parents, suing the current superintendent, Alberto Carvallo, and the board for misuse of public funds, $70 million that was supposed to go towards new art teachers, music teachers, and dance teachers from Prop 28 voted on in 2022. They were supposed to hire like up to 1,000. They hired like 100, but said they needed to use that money to pay for existing staff. Is it possible that Carvallo gave UTLA such a sweet deal in 2022 that he has to pay for it with money he's not supposed to use? Maybe. Let's hear what Austin Beutner had to say when he went on with Fox 11's Marla Tejas last night.
Los Angeles Unified School District is being sued by its former superintendent. Austin Beutner and 8 LAUSD families filed a lawsuit Monday against the district and Superintendent Alberto Carvallo, alleging they misused almost $80 million in funds dedicated for art and music education. Now, that money appropriated by...
Carvallo doesn't like clarinets. You heard it.
Now, that money appropriated by Proposition 28, it was passed by California voters in 2022 to address underfunding for music and arts, and Beutner is the author of...
The fact that we have middle schools and high schools that don't have one music class, that don't have one art class, that don't have one dance class, come on. There's plenty of stuff that you are teaching them they're never going to need to know.
Is the author of that proposition, Prop 28, and he is here in studio now to talk more about this. So let's...
Maybe we just drop trigonometry? Look, I believe in math. I actually was very good at math, but there was always something weird about that. Once you got to like 10th grade math, you needed to buy the special calculator, and pretty much what you were doing was you were learning how to use the calculator, the TI-83 or the TI-83 Plus from Texas Instruments. But then what would kids do? They figured out how to put games on the TI-83. One of them was a text adventure called Go Pimpin'. Oh, we loved Go Pimpin'. One kid figured out how to make a version of Mario on there. And I think they even put Doom on there. But, what was the point of I think of all the things I learned in high school that I've never, ever, ever once used in my adult life. And I'd say right at the top is I never had to figure out the sine and cosine of anything. So what exactly was the point of that?
So let's just get to the bottom of this. How is LAUSD allegedly misusing these funds, that money that should go to music and art?
Sir, the law is clear. I wrote it on my kitchen table with a couple of teachers and a good lawyer.
Well, look at you, Mr. Braggadocious.
Use this money, the extra money, to hire additional teachers to make sure every kid gets more arts and music instruction at every school. That's what the law says.
It seems simple enough.
Simple enough, right? Plain language. Everybody.
Austin Beutner, he's kind of whistly, so sometimes listening to be a little grating, but I want to find out what's going on in this lawsuit. So I apologize if the whistling is getting a little loud.
Plain language. Everybody understood it. That's why 7 million California voters voted yes, overwhelmingly.
That's a bad one.
Voted yes.
Should I delete that so you don't have to hear it?
7 million California voters voted yes, overwhelmingly. What LA Unified has done is they've used the new money to pay for stuff they're already doing. And we got the receipts. There's a memo from Carvallo, Superintendent Carvallo.
Okay, now I do think that's interesting, and that's a huge allegation, and that would be illegal. Misappropriation of funds. I don't know if you can fire someone over that. I don't know if anyone gets fired for anything in local government. But is the reason that they didn't spend the money on new teachers is because they made such a sweetheart deal with UTLA, as opposed by your proponent in this lawsuit is UTLA.
And we got the receipts. There's a memo from Carvallo, Superintendent Carvallo, to the board of LA Unified saying, well, we used the money to pay for existing staff, but that's okay. Well, it's not okay. The law says you have to use the money to add staff. They didn't. So you might ask a simple question. Are there more arts teachers in schools? The answer is no. You might ask a simple question. How about extra art class?
Are you interviewing yourself now? Marla's there. She's great. Let her ask the question.
You might ask a simple question. How about extra art classes? Can you tell us how many extra art classes? They refuse to tell us because I think, again, the answer is no. Really simple test for any viewer, whether they're in LA Unified or elsewhere. Are there new teachers in the school teaching art? They should be. Are there additional arts classes? There should be. And unfortunately, in LA Unified, that's not the case.
And again, this is a proper...
We'll hear more from Alberto Carvallo being sued by Austin Beutner as Beutner talks to Marla. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's go back to former LAUSD Superintendent Austin Beutner explaining to Marla Tejas why he's suing the current LAUSD Superintendent.
And again, this is a proposition across the state, so correct. All districts.
1,037 districts.
Okay, and there are those districts who are having no problem interpreting
Long Beach, right next door. Long Beach receives about $10 million a year. They added 150 teachers. By the same standard, LA Unified should have added 1,000. There aren't 1,000 extra art teachers in LA Unified, but there should be.
Well, okay, so we reached out to
They hired 100. They hired less teachers than Long Beach. Maybe LAUSD's too big? How come we never talk about that? Because then we have to talk about, is City of LA too big? Yes. Is the County of LA too big? Way yes.
Well, okay, so we reached out to LAUSD for a statement. Here's what they had to say. They said that they have not received notice, nor have we been served with any lawsuit regarding Prop 28. Then they say this.
Better check the mail.
Then they say this. That said, we have sought to clarify any misunderstandings regarding Prop 28, and we continue to follow implementation guidance as provided by the state of California to ensure that we are...
I mean, it's pretty simple, right? They either hired new teachers that was funded or they didn't. And if they didn't, that's what's interesting is why? If you were given money to hire more people, why wouldn't you? I want to know.
To ensure that we are fully complying with the requirements of Prop 28. Where's the miscommunication breakdown? Have you actually spoken to Carvalho himself? former superintendent to current superintendent?
Well, we and a group of arts advocates and people who work in schools and school families, many of whom are the plaintiffs that you see in the lawsuit, we reached out to the school district almost a year ago and said, it looks like you're not doing this right. There should be more teachers. There aren't. We've heard nothing. Crickets. No calls. No outreach from LA Unified saying, let's make sure we understand. We, the school district, understand.
Boy, is he whistly.
We're here to answer their questions. We've written to the school board, state leaders. No response. That was more than a year ago.
And you were with us here at 6 o'clock, ringing sounding the alarm. And this was in June.
Blowing the trumpet. We were blowing the trumpet, banging the drums.
So this is 7 months ago.
Get it? Because it's about music classes? Good job, Beutner.
This is 7 months ago, and not much has changed.
And not a response.
And to talk about the importance of music and arts, parents of the plaintiffs, they issued a joint statement calling art and music education essential for their children's development, to develop the skills they need in the classroom, in their careers, and throughout their lives.
Yeah, that's why everyone voted for Prop 28. I love music in the classroom. Art, dance, theater, all of it. So why wasn't LAUSD spending the money on it?
It's the glue that holds a great education together. We all have.
Oh, it's hacky.
We all have a story how arts and music have helped us. Everybody does. And shouldn't we provide that benefit to the many hundreds of thousands of kids in Los Angeles Unified?
Well, we will follow this lawsuit. It's going to get ugly, especially because this is a contract renewal year for UTLA as well. Carvallo is not going to have a very fun 2025, and we're going to find out what the heck is going on at LAUSD. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.